because there are times I forget to do that. And I'm going to share my screen. And Christy, I just want to let you know myself and Jared, we are auditing since neither of us can. Perfect. Christy, no problem. We love to have broker owners come and join and welcome. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. And just to let you know who's training you today, my name is Lauren Buckle, and I am the regional director of all the cold states. What does that mean? That means North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois, Indiana, and Michigan. So that's where I work. I've been with Weichert for 10 years, starting my 10th year. So I'm excited about that. I love Weichert. I wish I would have done it earlier. No, they do not pay me to say that. I'm saying that because I was with the competition and I wasn't looking for a job. And Weichert came and asked me to join. And at first I said no. And then that same person waited a year and came back to me and said, "You ready yet?" And I'm like, "Okay, well, maybe I will." And they're like, "Great, come on out. We'll meet with you." We did, we talked, and I'm like, "Well, let me know what you think," was my parting comment. And they're like, "Oh, no, you don't understand. We already know we want to hire you. We just wanted to wait until you were ready." So that's how I came to be at Weichert. So I have been a franchise owner, not of a Weichert, but of a competitor. And I have been an agent and I have been a broker. Different states have different name requirements. And now I work for Weichert as a regional director. So my job is to help the agents understand what tools and systems they have to be successful. Here's the biggest mistake I'm going to give you, not only as we go through this training, but I'm going to give you some of my 2 cents for whatever it's worth. You have two choices. You could listen, you can modify it, actually three. You can let it go in one ear and out the other. That's your choice. When I got into real estate, I got into real estate because I wanted to be the best. I didn't want to be average. I didn't want to be just good. I wanted to be the best. I wanted my bosses to say, "You're the best regional director," not just an average regional director. So as you're doing things and you're new, I want you to think about being the best that you could be. Don't just be average. If you're going to do something, if you're going to change careers, how many of you thought that the real estate test was hard? Okay. Some no, some yes. How many thought, "Oh my God, all those hours of schooling, that was a lot." Okay. You just went through all of this. Don't continue on to be average. Continue on to be the best you could be. The money, if you build the relationships, the money will follow. Okay. So if anytime during this presentation, this training, you have questions, you could feel free to put it in the chat, or you can raise your hand if I see you, and we can go from there. So your assignments, what we're going to do today, our agenda is we're going to look at your assignments from session 1. We're going to talk about homework. We're going to talk about what makes a great agent, building your pipeline. That's where you get your business, branding yourself, and skill building. Okay. So let's first talk about your homework. You need to identify your motivators. Yeah. What motivates you? What is your why? Why do you get up every morning? What are you passionate about? Is it making money? I used to say, "I want to make money. I want to make money. I want to make lots of money." What I really realized is I wanted money as a means because I didn't want to rely on anyone to take care of me when I got older. I wanted to be able to do that myself. I wanted to be able to help my daughter. I wanted to be able to help my granddaughter. So you all have your motivators, your why. of you get up every morning and what you're passionate about. And we want you to think about those because those play an important factor in your new career. The other piece of the factor that they play is that when you get frustrated, and you will, when you get, oh my God, will I ever know this? And you will, that passion, that desire, that why will keep you going. The other thing that I would always suggest is to give yourself a buddy. Get yourself a buddy. Maybe it's somebody at the office. Maybe it's one of your good friends. It's not that friend, and we all have them. We have those friends that are a little bit negative, but we love them anyway. You all know who I mean. Not that friend. You want the friend who's always positive. That glass is always overflowing. Okay. So those are the buddies that you want as you go through this new career. You needed to complete your sales planning and the questionnaire. You needed to set a meeting with your manager and begin to set your daily activities. Now, let's just talk about homework for a moment. There's going to be, and I'm not going to put anybody on the spot because that would be kind of mean. I'm not going to do that. Okay. There are those people that already did all that homework. You know who you are. And then there's those people who did part of the homework and then they'll do part continuing tomorrow, tonight, whenever. It's not about a race on the homework. It's about doing the homework and getting it done. But nobody really tells you, okay, yes, do the homework, do the homework, do the homework. By the end of the course, in a month, you should have a good portion, over 60% to 65, maybe 70-ish, of the homework done. Some of it you'll need to continue. What do I mean by that? I don't mean that you sit down for the next 12 hours and enter everybody's name into your CRM that you now have available. And we're going to talk about that today. It means that every day I schedule time to do a piece of my homework to get it done. You're going to hear me say throughout this whole next hour and a half, 2 hours, we're together. Does that make sense? And I want to see a thumbs up. If not, then help me understand what it is that you may not understand. Okay. So I want you to know that the homework is important, but it's not important enough to rush through it. For example, when we talk about bio today, if you said, Lauren, sit down and write your bio, I would have a hard time. I'm not great at writing. That's just not my forte. So I would have to start with bullets, process. My family always tells me I overthink it. I do. I overthink. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes that's not so good. Sometimes you just have to do. But I want you to, there are certain things that you have to think about before you go and you do them. Your bio is one of them. Just know whatever you do today can be changed. Questions on that? Okay, so make sure you are setting up your meeting with your broker. If you don't understand something on the business planning, you have your broker, you have mentors at your office, you have other agents at your office, might have a manager. Ask somebody for help. Okay, you are not in this alone. So what do you think, and this is where it's interactive, what do you think makes a great agent? Anybody? Don't make me call on you because I will.
Someone who's a people person.
Okay, say your name.
Greg
Okay.
Cox. Yeah. I said someone who's a people person.
Greg, thank you. Someone who's a people person. Okay, who's next?
Someone who's a good listener.
Ooh, that's a really good one. And not that people person isn't a good one. It is, but you know what happens when we change careers? Because we don't know everything, we get shy. Oh, I don't want to talk to anybody because I don't know all the answers. Guess what? I've been in for a long time. I still don't know all the answers. You know what the good thing is? I do know who to go to if I don't know something. That's the key. Okay, so good listener. Anybody else?
Someone who always answers the phone.
Ooh, who said that?
Chris.
Awesome. Someone who answers the phone. Well, yes, but I want you to take the word always out. And here's why. If you're with me and I'm your client and I'm going and looking for a house with you and I've signed that buyer's agency agreement, I want your time with me. So if you don't answer the phone, then your message might say, I'm sorry I didn't get to the phone with you. I'm currently out with a client, but I will return the call as soon as I'm done. And you do. That's just as good as answering that phone always. Does that make sense?
So reliable.
Being reliable. Okay, awesome. Somebody else.
Someone who is organized and has good time management skills. Sorry, Josiah.
You're fine.
Okay. Organizational skills and time management. That's very good. Very good. Thank you, Shane. Josiah.
Someone who's motivated and excited to help you find your dream home.
Someone who's motivated. That's something we cannot teach. I could teach you skill sets. I cannot teach you drive. That you have to reach inside and grab on your own. So that's a very good one. Thank you. Anybody else?
Someone that's
Ooh.
approachable, personable.
Say that one more time, home group. It's hard to hear with you far away.
Someone that's approachable and personable.
Approachable, is that Holly? And personable. Thank you very much. All good ones. So let's take a look at what the survey said, okay? Honesty and integrity. And what's kind of cool about this page is it classifies it by age group. And what's interesting is that honesty and integrity goes across the board from 96% all the way in every age group. Someone said responsiveness, knowledge, and responsiveness. We also have knowledge. We're going to talk about these individually. Knowledge of the real estate market, communication skills. Somebody mentioned that. Negotiation skills, people skills. Someone mentioned that. Knowledge of your local area and skills with technology. Okay. Let's talk about these. Okay. You are only as good as your word of honor. If you tell me you're going to call me by 2 o'clock tomorrow, I expect you to call me, listen very carefully, by 5 to 2 tomorrow. Not 2 o'clock, 5 minutes before. I used to tell my daughter when she had a curfew, you're due home by midnight. If you're smart, if you want to wrap me around your finger, you will be home by 10 minutes to 12 because parents start to worry in that last 10 minutes. Okay, so things like that. So being honest and having integrity is very important. Knowledge of the purchase. The better you can explain the process, the more money you will make. Do you ever notice that when some people get nervous, they talk a lot? When they don't know everything, they talk a lot. That does not help to explain the purchase process. That makes my head spin like The Exorcist. So you need to be able to understand the process and be able to explain that in a simple, succinct manner so that people understand that. Knowledge of the real estate market. From this day forward, you are not allowed to drive home the same way every day. You might say, oh, well, I work from home. Couple things with that. The first year and a half, I would never work from home, except if there was a blizzard up in the cold states, a hurricane down in the warm states, a tornado in the middle of the country. Here's why. If you dress up, suit up, and show up every day and go into the office And I'm sitting next to Amber. Amber Mann will be our top agent at our office. And I come in and I suit up every single day and I'm sitting next to her. She's talking to a client. Could I learn things? Absolutely. I could learn what to say, how she's saying it. I can even learn in some instances what not to say. Okay. Those are important. The other thing is by going into the office, it helps me acclimate to my team. You see, you have a family at home, family, friends, whatever. You now have another family. That family is going to help you succeed and build your foundation. If I'm sitting next to Amber and she is so busy, she's a listing machine, and she gets a call from a buyer that she doesn't know, she doesn't have the time to take it. And I've suited up and showed up every single day. And she's sitting next to me. She might turn to me and say, "Hey, Lauren, I got this buyer lead. I can't do it. I'm too busy. Do you want it?" I'm being recorded, so I shouldn't say hell yeah, but I'm going to say hell yeah, I'd love that. Thank you so much, Amber. I'm not going to get that sitting at home and working. That first year and a half, you need to participate. You need to go in for your sales meetings, go in for training, participate if your area has regional events. These are all important. The home group down in Columbus, Indiana, I cover Indiana, we just had a fall rally and it was a Weichert Olympics. Oh my God, they had to do cup stacking, they had to do cornhole, they had to do Weichert trivia. The president was saying to me, "Do you know the answer to that question?" I'm like, "Yes, I do." There were some I didn't. We learn. We did name that tune. We had to do a jigsaw puzzle. We all got to meet everybody, all the other offices from other parts of Indiana, and we had lunch together because when you break bread with family, you get closer. It was home group, a thumbs up. Did you have a great event? Okay. It was a ton of fun. It really was a ton of fun.
It
If
was
you
so much fun whenever I got socks with Lauren's face on them.
Oh my God, you're wearing the socks with my face. Thank you
Yep.
very much. They like to make fun. They made me into a bobblehead. I didn't think that one really looked like me, but I was thinner on that bobblehead than I am in real life, so I did like that. Anyway, participate, build your team, build the relationships. Those are the people that are going to help you. Okay, knowledge of the market. The only way to get knowledge of the market is to drive around and learn it. So you got to drive home different ways. Okay. You see, if Josiah is driving and I'm sitting in the car, I'm staring out the window and I'm zoning. I'm not paying attention to the streets. But if I'm driving, I'm paying attention to the streets. So you need to focus so that when I go take a buyer out, if I'm driving to a seller's house, I know the area. So you need to get to really know that. It's not just the streets, it's the schools, it's the after school activities. It's if someone has a handicapped child, what things are available to them in what different states. For example, I've born and raised in Illinois. I happen to know Wisconsin has better things that they do for families with handicapped kids than Illinois does. That's just the way it is. So these are things that I could speak to. Daycare locations, where the cleaners are, where the grocery stores are. These are all things that I need to know. Communication skills. Again, sitting home by yourself, kind of hard to have good communication skills because when you're talking to yourself, it doesn't matter what words you use. Well, sometimes it does. The positive words are better. Negotiation skills. You negotiate every single day. You do that with your mom, your dad, your family, your brothers, your sisters, your children, your friends, every single day. And your people skills and your knowledge of the local area. Let's talk technology. You do not have to be a geek, but you need to know the tools of your trade. What does that mean? That means you need to know how to work your MLS backwards and forwards, how to run reports out of it. Many MLSs or boards around the country offer free training. Take advantage of it. Many of your brokers and managers do training in the office. Take advantage of it. You need to learn how to work the things that you need. For example, would you ever have surgery with a doctor who only knows how to use one tool? I mean, that just to me would be really, really scary, and there's no difference. Okay. So, do you have what it takes? The honesty and integrity? That's actually Weichert's culture. Responsiveness and consistency. We're going to talk a lot about the My Weichert CRM that you now have available to you. Knowledge of the purchase process, the buyer consultation can assist with that by you reading through that and using that to present. Communication skills, and then your negotiation skills of practice, practice, practice. So we need to build our pipeline, and it's first who you know, and then it's what you know. So let's talk about this. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to create your SOI list. Okay. And I think I missed a page. I want to go back here. I want to talk first statistics. And listen to these statistics because they're interesting. NAR, the National Association of Realtors, did a study. 2 points stick out to me. Referrals continue to be the way that most buyers found a real estate agent. What does that mean? That means that you worked with someone, you did a good job, and they gave your name and number to someone else. It's also important that on your signature line of your email, you have a professional signature line, and we're going to talk more about that. But it might be a PS, referrals are the heart of my business. Okay. When choosing an agent to work with, that same study from NAR, an agent that was honest and trustworthy was the most important factor for a buyer. Okay. So we're going to talk about how we create our sphere list and upload that into our CRM, contact relationship manager system, My Weichert. We're going to email or text that sphere through My Weichert. We're going to connect on social media, either Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You're going to see a whole list of them. Do you have to learn all of them? No, pick 2. You're going to send out a mailer or a letter or an announcement or a postcard letting them know about your new career. And then you're going to call them and make it personal so that so you could be in touch with them. Now, these are some statistics that I think are really important. I want to point out the second piece of it. 38% of buyers who used a real estate agent found their agents by referral. Okay, so that covers what I just said. Here's the important piece. Look at these numbers. 76% of buyers would use the same agent again, but only 12% of them did. That's a big gap in there. Why didn't they? That's an interesting question, isn't it? Anybody like to take a guess of why they didn't?
Because
They
they
keep in
forgot,
touch. Oh, sorry,
Okay.
Zach.
That's all right, Josiah, go ahead.
they forgot who their realtor was.
Ooh, they forgot who their realtor was. Very good. Yes, they did. It's your job to stay in front of them. Let's look at the seller side. Again, NAR statistics. Actually, this was from 2003 because the 2004 didn't come out yet. 36% of sellers found their agents from a referral. same good third of your business for buyers and sellers. 73% of sellers would use the same agent, but only 27% did. Okay, so here's my sales pitch. I only have one sales pitch today. Okay, and because I don't like to sell things, but I think it's important. And it's only $49. You ready? It's called the Client Follow-Up Program. Client Pro Power. This is what you get for $49. You get 5 years with 21 pieces that they mail for you with your face, Amber, your phone number, Amber, your email, Amber, your company name, Amber, all on it. 21 pieces over a 5-year period of time. Now, I'm not great at math. Anybody else? Let me get my trusty little calculator out. 49 divided by 5 years is $9.80 a year. Or we could do 49 divided by 21 things they do for 2.3 cents a piece. Okay? The bottom line is this. You have a closing. You need to enroll, if it's your seller or your buyer, in that client follow-up program for the $49 a year. Not asking you to put out the money in advance. I'm asking you that when you get your money, and some of your offices do it automatically, you're independently owned and operated, so each office across the country might be different. Some of you might say, well, my broker makes us do it. Kudos to them. Some of the brokers leave it to their agent's accord. You would be foolish not to enroll that person you just did a transaction with, because a third of your business comes from referrals. When would I not enroll them? When they were an icky, 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 icky person. Okay? Would I enroll them if they were moving out of state? Yes. Because most people, if they're moving out of Illinois and they're moving to California, they still have family and friends in Illinois that they can refer. Okay, that's my sales pitch for the day, my one and only for $49. So that's something that I would absolutely use. Okay. Next, your sphere of influence. Your sphere of influence is a term of all the people that you know. Okay. This is the group that you get the most amount of business from. Okay. And they are your cheerleaders of people that they know you. So who's in your sphere? It is your family, your friends. Keep in mind, sometimes family won't use you until you practice on everybody else. Okay. So just know that sometimes they want to see that you have been successful before they give you their business. But the block party, the people in your neighborhood, people who have children, if their children are in sports. My granddaughter takes she's 5 years old. She takes wrestling. 5 years old, little girl takes wrestling. Kind of cool, okay? But it's all the parents that are in wrestling. If they're in gymnastics, if they're in ballet, if soccer, baseball, you get my gist. Past coworkers. How many of you came from a different career? Multiple over the years, okay? It's all of those people. Some of you, and you'll laugh, some of you won't know what I'm talking about, but some of you will. The old address book where we wrote everybody's name and address in there and phone number to send a holiday card to. You got to go through that. Some of you have an AOL email. Oh my God, please get rid of it if you have it. But have an old AOL, you've got mail with all your names and your people in there. Some of you have a Yahoo. By the way, Yahoo does not play nice with everybody. Okay. You may need to go purchase a professional email. Some of the offices provide it, some of them don't. A professional email is not Lauren Buckle at Hotmail. A professional email is not Lauren Buckle 1075 because that's my birth date or when I got married or when I got divorced at Gmail. That's not a professional email. And please know that when you go, if you go to Gmail to get an email, do not put the word realtors in that email. It is a trademarked word. And NAR could come after you and say, you can't use it after you used it for 5 years. So don't even start off that way. Okay. So these are all the people, but don't forget, how many of you have a doctor? A dentist, somebody who fixed the garage door because the spring broke. Okay. Church, synagogue, don't care where you go, an attorney, an accountant, all of those people, don't forget about them as part of your sphere. These are all people that you could get business from. Okay. So we're going to get that list together. Now, keep in mind, tonight, tomorrow at the latest, Shauna, your main contact, okay, for this class is going to email you out the recording. She's going to email you out the list to put these people on that we're going to talk about. She's going to email you your homework and then remind you about the next class on Friday. So you
Hey,
have,
Lauren,
yes.
sorry, quick
No,
question.
don't be.
Can you repeat, did you say Client Pro mailer? Is that what
It's
we're
called
supposed-
Client Pro Power.
Pro Power? And
Yes,
where
and
do
you
I
find
that
it
at?
by going to My Weichert. All the way down on the bottom left side in the black will be Weichert Tools. And then there is a widget that says Client Follow-up, I believe. And when you click on it, if you go to the 5-year plan, it'll show you a picture of everything that they send out over the 5 years.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. So those are the things Shauna's going to send to you. And then you have two choices. And you have two choices because the government made a new rule. There's a federal law. Okay. And the federal law is this, and you could Google it if you really want to read about it. But if you buy a list or you have a list of people that you know forever, but you import them into a CRM, you must get their permission before you reach out to them via text. Even though you already know them, even though they could be your sister or your brother or your aunt. Okay. Now, so option one, you put everybody on this list that Shauna's going to send you. Either you import it into My Weichert or KV Core will do it for you within 48 hours. We're going to talk about that. So if you're already in your brain going, I don't know how to import, or I've only imported one time, you don't have to worry about it. We don't want you to get frustrated. KV Core will do it for you. Okay. And then the way around it is that you would create a landing page or a squeeze page, which we're going to talk about today, and get your people to click on it. And once they click on it, that gives you permission to reach out to them. So that's one way of doing it with a workaround. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more in a minute. The other way is to type them up and enter them into the system. Yes, one at a time. Now, if it was me, I would type them in one at a time. Because let's just pretend that I have a list of somebody throw out a number.
300.
Perfect. Thank you, Tiffany. 300 people. Once I know how to do it and I'm entering them, even if you hunt and peck, it's not going to take you that long to put in 300 people. Do you think I could do 20 in a day? Their name, their email, their phone number, their address within an hour. I gotta believe, even if you're the slowest at hunting and pecking, you could still get 20 names in 300 divided by 20. Who's good at math? 300 divided by 20 is 15 days. Okay. So that's a worst case scenario. I like to just spell that out so that you know. Personally, that's how I would do it so that I don't have to worry about that squeeze page or the landing page. I'm going to still do one, but I could do one for different reasons. Okay. Makes sense? Questions?
Why wouldn't I need to get like the bulk import you said before I could contact them? I have to have them register.
Say
If I-
that one more time, Greg.
Well, in the second option where you do a bulk import, you said you will not be able to text those folks.
Until you get permission because of this new federal law that there is. If you Google what is the federal law for texting people, you have to have their permission. You're not allowed to text them without it.
Do not call or text.
Right, right. Okay. So, and you could check with your brokers on that. They're aware of it. So just know that these are your two choices. Okay.
Okay.
I want you to be able to see what that spreadsheet looks like for those of you that are, the ones of you that are great with technology or good with Excel. I'm not worried about you, but I don't want people to get frustrated if they're not great with it. So let's just go through this real quickly and what it looks like. Okay. This is what it's going to look like. And when I open up what Shauna sends to me, if I were you, this is where people get in trouble. They open it up within the body of the email and they start working on it. Do not do that. Let me say that again. They open it up in the email, double click it, open it, and they start working. Very hard. You could forget to save it. So what I would do is I would open it up and I would save it on my desktop. I save everything on my desktop that I'm working on currently. It makes it easy if I have a senior moment and I don't remember how to find it or where I put it. It's right on my desktop. And when I go live in a little bit, you'll see my desktop is a little bit crazy. Okay. Then I get out of my email, I open it back up and I start working on it. Some of you might have autosave already on your computers. Some of you may not, but after 5 names, I would hit save. After 5 names, I would hit save. To me, that's just like CYA. Okay. So I put my name, my cursor in the cell. I type in Tiffany. I hit tab. I put in her last name of Pace, hit tab, put in her email, hit tab, status. She's a sphere right there. Status is just what category do you fall under? Okay. So all of these that we would be putting in would be sphere. Hashtags. For those of you, again, that are not great with technology, let me make hashtags simple for you. You ready? Okay. I'm going to show my age here and I'm okay with it. Guess what my daughter bought me for Christmas? A label maker. I'm so excited. I'm a gardener. So what do? I have little glass jars and I collect seeds. And so a hashtag is a label. So I want you to think about this for a minute. Let's do it in gardening and then we'll take it to real life and real estate. If I have hot pepper seeds, am I going to mix those with my flower seeds? Nope. So one is going to say, what kind of hot peppers? Jalapeno or habanero or garden salsa or whatever kind of seeds. And that would be one hashtag. Another hashtag might be my zinnia flowers. Another hashtag might be my dahlias. But all 3 of these have a second hashtag. And that second hashtag is seeds. Let's take it into real estate. All of your people that you're putting in will have a hashtag of SOI, sphere of influence. But then they would have a second hashtag. Shane, am I pronouncing that right? Monte,
It's Shaney.
Shaney, I apologize.
It's okay. Long
Shaney.
E, like Shane, but with an E, long E at the end.
Okay, thank you.
No
So
worries.
Shaney might have hashtag church group. Amber might have hashtag book club. Tiffany might have a second hashtag of hashtag family. Christy might have hashtag friends from the old neighborhood. So that's how we define hashtags to make it very easy. They are labels. I would write out my hashtags first. Why? Because you want them to all be consistent so that later, when I want to pull up all my hashtags of old neighborhood, I don't have to go, how did I spell that again? How did I abbreviate that? So you want to have some sort of a cheat sheet. Okay. Next. Their phone number, their address, their city, state, and zip. Now, this spreadsheet goes on forever. I am the most anal person you will ever meet in your life. That's just how I am. I like being anal. Why? Because I am very, very organized. I could dance circles around any 10 people you want to pick. Okay. When I'm touching this, I want to touch it once. I want to put them in. If I knew Christy's husband's name, I'm putting in his name. If I know Christy has 4 children under 8, I'm putting in their 4 children. If I know Amber has a dog and a cat, I'm putting in the dog and the cat. If I know Tiffany's birthday is in October, I'm putting that down. Because I'm anal, so I want as much information as possible. Some of you will be like that, it's okay. Some of you won't want all that information. Some of you will say, I'll go back and do it later because I don't have that now. That's okay too. Okay. So you just have to determine how you're going to go about it. Questions before I move on from the spreadsheet?
I have a question.
Yes.
So is it important to put like in everybody, like to find the address, the email, like for every SOI? Is it important to put all of that information in?
Yes.
Find it
And
out?
let me tell why, because I don't like when teachers or facilitators just go yes. If you don't put the email in, then from the system, I can never send them an email. If I don't put their phone number in, from the system, I can't call them. Now, you might say, well, I'm going to just pick up my phone and I'm going to call them. But there's a way that if you call them through the system, it adds that touch to their file so that if I ever had to pull something up, it'll tell me that I emailed them on these days and what the email was, and that I called them through the system 3 times and left a message, and it postmarks and date stamps every single touch. So without that information, I'm not able to do certain things. So if you're worried about, well, how do I find that? There's a couple different ways you could find that, Amber. If you go into somebody's Facebook page and go into the About section, you could typically find their phone number and their email. You could go to White Pages and you can Google their name in White Pages, Amber in West Virginia and whatever city, Rochester, whatever, I'm making something up, and it'll find you because the internet knows everything. Okay. It knows who you are, and where you're going. Okay. So there's different ways. Sometimes I might just, especially during this time with you guys starting, I might pick up the phone and call Stephanie and go, Stephanie, I'm doing my holiday cards and I don't have your new address. May I have your address? And Stephanie goes, sure. And I type it right in because I have her phone number and I have her email. So there's different ways of going about to get that information. Does that help?
Yeah, okay, I was just making sure.
No, it's a
Lauren,
great
Thank you.
question.
Lauren, I have a question.
Yes, Greg.
Okay, so on where you on the hashtags, let's say I have 5 contact information for 5 of my neighbors. So in populating that spreadsheet, when I come to when I put in the first neighbor, I'd be hashtag neighbor, and the other 4 would be hashtag neighbor as well, or some other differentiator. But if
Nope. Let's say the 5 people, they were all hashtag neighbor.
okay, all right, that helps.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you actually put them on the form, you don't have to include the pound sign for the hashtag, just what it is.
Okay.
When you put them in the system, you do not have to put the hashtag first. You just put neighbor.
Okay.
And since neighbor is, I'm going to imagine, Greg, that you've lived more than one place in your life.
Uh-huh. Yes.
So you might want to be specific with neighbor.
Okay.
So it might be neighbor, let's just say that today I live in Orchard Hills, but 7 years ago I lived in Barrington, and 10 years before that I lived in Wakanda. I might say hashtag Orchard Hills or hashtag Barrington or hashtag Wakanda, depending on what kind of neighbor they were from what area.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's why I want you to think about it a little bit beforehand. And I see Home Group has found the animated hand. You have a question.
Yes. Entering with like people who live in the same household, like a married couple, would you enter them separately on your list?
Hmm.
They might have the same physical address, but different phone numbers, different email address.
No, sometimes. Why? Why am I saying sometimes? Why am I hesitating? I'm thinking of my sister. My sister and my brother-in-law are married, but she uses his email and he has they have the same email. They have 2 different phones. I probably would put them under one contact of first name and full the computer, like Jamie and Brian, and last name would be Verba with the one email address. And then I would make a primary phone number and a secondary phone number. In some cases, I might do individual, and you'll know you're going to just have to trust your gut instinct, because you don't want, if they had 2 different emails, both of them getting something that could be overkill. But then my brain goes to, but what if they, God forbid, ever got divorced? Then I'd want them both wanting to call me about listing their house. So I'm going to leave that up to you to do either way that you'd like.
Okay. Thank you.
Another question.
Yes.
If you had someone like a dentist or doctor that you really don't know personally, just professionally, would you mail this to their office if you couldn't, like, because I find lately when I try to just get on the internet and get someone's address, I can't get it. They want you to pay for it, all that kind of stuff, and get a, subscription and so forth. So I'm just curious, would you do that? Because I just feel like they would never see it.
In some cases, yes. For example, what I would do for my dentist or my doctor is I probably would enroll them in that client follow-up for the $49, because they're going to mail everything, and then I would mail it to like Dr. Collins, care of the name of his dental practice at this address. For this purpose, you're going to be emailing and texting and mailing different things. I think I'd want more of a personal contact. But I might fool the computer. I might put in Dr. Collins if I have his email address, and then for his mailing address, his company. So that it could just depend on the information you have.
That you can get. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
exactly. But that was a really good question, Josiah.
I would like to add to that, that could be more beneficial because not only will the doctor see it, but whoever handles the mail will see it too. So you might get a prospective client that way.
Great. Okay, I'm switching spots. You teach the rest of the class. I love that. Thank you. But see, you know what? This is called the power of the group. Okay. More eyes, different people thinking about it. That's what you get at your office. That's exactly the point I was trying to get across. Any other questions? Okay. So I'm going to keep going then. So I want you to see what it looks like. So this is what my Weichert looks like. You're going to go into playbooks. You're going to go here to gather your sphere. You're going to click right here on open the playbook. And then this page is important. This is the page where you let them handle or you do it yourself. Why am I showing you this? There's going to be one or two of you that don't want to wait for Shauna to send to you that form. So if you come in here where I just showed you and you go get started, you can get that form right here today as soon as we're done and save that onto your desktop and start putting your sphere in. Okay. If this green button here is a video on how you go about adding a contact. Let you handle, let them handle. This is a video on letting them do it and how you could submit that file when you're done and you have that all ready for my Weichert KV Core to put that in there. So then we go to adding a contact. Right here is you start with your Smart CRM. These are my contacts that are already in there. Then I'm going to click over to the right and do add a contact. And then here's what that contact form looks like. So I'm going to put in Diane, her last name, her email, her phone number. Amber, once I have all that information, let's say that you have my information, but you don't have my mailing address. So you say call yes, because you put in my phone number, text yes, because you're adding me individually, and email yes, but maybe you don't have my mailing address as yet. So you put that information in, and then I can put in what that person is if they're a lead type. Now, for yours, you're not going to have a lead type yet. These are your sphere. I want to talk about this a minute. You might say, well, then how do they move through the list? So let's say your sphere, every quarter, you do a newsletter and you send it out through my Weichert. And one day, one of the people in your sphere, one of Greg's neighbors, the 5 neighbors that he knows, reaches out to him through the system and says, hey, Greg, I'm interested in finding out how much my home is worth. And Greg calls him and they set up a meeting and Greg goes out there and he does a price trend analysis for his neighbor and he gets the listing. And he comes back here and you have to manually, because the system doesn't know that you went out there, you have to manually come into that one neighbor, we'll pretend it's Diane, and move her into a seller status, lead type rather, seller lead type, because now I'm working with her and she's a seller. Does that make sense? Okay. We talked
Lauren, I
about,
have a quick question. Sorry.
no, that's all right. Who is that?
Shani. Hi.
Okay, go ahead, Shani.
So when you're manually entering, because I've done this a few times with like my family and friends already.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So when you're manually entering, I've just been clicking yes, yes to the call and text, but now I'm a little worried that I've been doing something illegal and they need to go on the website. So do they have to go on the website?
Did you manually add them?
Yes.
No, you did not do anything. You're
Okay.
fine.
Thanks.
Okay? I know, it's like, it's only when you import a list. And I would suggest, you don't have to read the whole thing, but I would Google that federal law with texting and just read a little bit of it, and you'll see that if you buy or you import a list, even if it's people you know, that's the way that it's worded, that you must get their permission first to be able to text them. But if you just manually added them like you said you did, you did not do anything wrong. Okay? Josiah.
Okay, I have a question. I started with Sweet Homes, and the only really good advice I got was to message everybody personally on Facebook through Messenger. And I did that, and I got a couple leads that way. Would I put them in as my sphere of influence, or would I put them in as like a buyer or a renter or
Okay, let me see if I understand. These are people you know.
yes?
And so you did something on Facebook and reached out to them. And then what did they say to you through Messenger?
One is actually looking to buy soon, and the other is looking to relocate to my state in March.
Okay, so let's talk about the person who's looking to buy. Then what I would do is put them into the system as a buyer.
Okay.
Okay. The person who's looking to relocate, they too are going to be a buyer. And I would put them in as a buyer, both. Okay.
All right, thank
Yep.
you.
Yep. And we're going to talk about campaigns and things like that that are there and available for you to utilize. So great question. Okay. We talked about hashtag, so we're not going to cover that. Here's when you put in a contact. Here's where it says hashtag. Now, told you I'm really anal. So if I had created this KV Core, there would be a little drop down box right here next to hashtag that would say all of my choices of hashtags of people that I put in with a hashtag. But I did not create this. So that's why you have to go to your cheat sheet and go, oh, I called it Neighbor Orchard Hills. And I put in N Orchard OH because that's what I abbreviated as. And when I press enter, it comes up. That's not logical. Did you ever see like those robot movies? That does not compute. That does not compute to my brain. It should just have a drop down box with all of mine, but it doesn't. So I just want you to know that. Okay. Next. So we've talked about gathering all the people that we know, where to find them, and getting them into your CRM. Before we move forward, I just want to make sure that nobody has an additional question before we talk about the next section of this or the next piece in the process. All right. So the next piece of the process is.
I'm sorry I couldn't unmute fast enough. I have a question.
That's okay. Don't be sorry. I love it.
Okay, so I was just doing a list of names, just took my phone and did a list of names. And quite a few of the people live either out of city or out of state. But I know they know people here. Would you still include them? Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
figured, but that's just kind of, I was kind of curious, like, is this going to be really strange? And also when you're doing this, can you send like an individual personalized, like you could say, hey, Tim, I know you're in Tennessee, but I know you've got lots of contacts here. If you ever have anyone that's looking for somebody, I'd love your referral, kind of thing. Will you say that or no?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
After I told them about my new career that I'm doing in.
Yeah.
And after I maybe reached out to them and said, hey, you said it, the person's name was Tim.
Yeah. I'm just random.
Okay. Hey, Tim, what's going on? How are things going? How are the kids? How's the wife? How's the puppy? Blah, blah, blah. How do you say it? Shoot the shit. Sorry, I was trying to think of it abbreviated and I couldn't. My brain wasn't moving fast enough. And so kind of, schmooze, do that. And then they go, what's going on with you, Tiffany? Oh, well, I changed careers, blah, 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 and I'm really excited about it. So please, I'm hoping that you'll help me. We've been friends for a long time. If you ever know of anyone that is looking to buy or sell, I'm hoping you'll give them my name and number. It's a very soft close. Instead of saying, are you interested in buying? Are you interested in selling? We don't call our sphere and nag them to death. It's not about putting your sphere in there and nagging them. Okay.
Since that's conversational, would you do that on Facebook and then add them to the CRM, or would you do all of that on the CRM?
That's what I've been doing.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was wanting. I was like,
Some of
is
them
it
I
weird?
might pick up the phone first, and you'll
Mm,
know who those people should be. Maybe you're closer with those people. Some of them you're
exactly.
just going to put them all in the CRM. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Did that answer?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. And you could call me Lauren, but thank you. I appreciate that. Okay.
I'm
So
from the South.
I know, and I love that. I love that. Okay. So there's intro letters. And before we even look at the intro letters, this is what I want you to think about. The people in your sphere, if I think about all the people that I know, they range from 26, my nieces, who are grown, I have triplet nieces, to probably 70 something. Okay. Maybe even 80 something. That's a wide age group range. Some of them are going to be all about text, right? Some of them are going to be all about snail mail, the regular mailbox. Some of them are going to be all about email. So there's different ways as we start thinking about how we're going to do an introduction letter to my sphere about what I'm doing now in my new career, that I've got to think about multiple ways to reach them. See, when you're doing marketing, you can't do just one way. It's called, my dad used to say, never put all your eggs in one basket. So you have to be diverse in your ways of marketing. Some of that'll be texting, some of that'll be Instagram, some of that'll be Facebook for those Facebook users. Then there's those people who are not on either one. And it doesn't mean they're not going to have a house to sell. So you've got to think of different ways of marketing. So here's a sample. You all received from Shauna a link to your manual that you should have put on your desktop. Would I print it? No, I'm a gardener. I wouldn't want to kill that many trees. Even if they grow trees to print paper, I just don't want to kill that many trees. Okay. So I would leave that on my desktop so that I can refer to the section, session 2, engaging with your sphere. And you can pull up anything that you might need to look at, because everything we're covering today is in that. Everything you cover at every session is in that manual. So here's a sample email. Couple things with this. When you write your introduction letter, it needs to be less than 1 page. 2 paragraphs, 3 at most. Okay. It should include information of what made you decide to change careers. Because if you can show your passion and your drive about why you change careers, that could be just the reason why somebody wants to work with you. See, you think you know everybody in your sphere, but there's going to be people that you have no clue, and there will be someone from your sphere who buys a house and never even thinks of you, even though they know you're in real estate. Maybe they don't want you knowing their finances. Maybe they don't want to work with somebody new just yet. Maybe they don't want to use family. There's a lot of different reasons. So just like a horse race where they put the blinders on the horse, you all know what I mean? Do you know why they put the blinders on the horse? So that they could focus on their race. I'm saying that to you because you're going to put the blinders on you so that you could focus and do the activities that lead to build your business. If somebody doesn't want to work with you, they miss out. If it's because you weren't in front of them, then that's something you have to correct. But if it's because they didn't want to work with you, don't get hung up on it. Just put your blinders on. It's the activities that lead to success. It's the phone calls. It's the reaching out. It's the building relationships. For example, okay, this is getting a little off track, but this is important. Why do you think your broker hired you?
Because I'm great.
Who said that?
Chris.
What is your first name?
Chris.
Chris, because you're great. I love that answer. And guess what? He's correct. Your broker hired you because you looked good. And I don't mean you looked good. You dressed up. You showed up. You had a nice smile. You were personable. Maybe you talked and he or she thought you were great. Okay? Those are all good things. Why did you accept the position with your broker? Because you thought he or she would help you reach the goals that you want, or the financial freedom that you want to get to, or the success that you want. Okay? That's why they hired you. So don't get shy. Pick up the phone and call. Here's what you say when you don't know the answer to something. That's a great question. May I get back to you, Amber, by tomorrow at 3 o'clock with the answer to that? I want to check on a few things. That means I don't know the answer. Some people, anal here, would say, God, that's a great question. I don't know the answer to that, but I do know who to go contact to find that out. May I get back to you? I'll call you by 3 tomorrow. And then what time am I calling them?
5 minutes till.
5 minutes to or 2:45, either one works. All good answers. Okay. So I want you to think about what you're going to write. Now, once you write this out, run it by your manager or broker owner. Why? Because it's important to have a second pair of eyes. Some of you, when you're writing something, will write realtors with a small r. Realtors is a trademark word. Proper way to write realtors is all in caps with the little r in the circle, which means registered trademark. Okay. Some of you will not write your DBA the right way. Some of you, your managers or your owners will come back and go, let's do a grammar check. I like to do everything in Word because it does a spell and a grammar check. And it's just an extra pair of eyes before I send something.
Hey, Lauren.
Yes.
Real fast on that. Like when I did mine, I'm kind of younger, but like kind of still kind of new to technology. An app that I use, I may not be the best communicator as far as writing something out that might be as catchy as what, some people may like or whatever. But an app that I used is Chat GPT.
Okay.
So whatever I wrote, so I could copy just like your sample letter that you have here. I
Yeah.
could copy and paste that and then give it a
Write it to the
command to,
AI and they'll make it better. Yep.
yeah, right. So rewrite this better, and then all of a sudden you've got like a thing that you're like, oh, holy smokes, this is great. So just for the room, just in case anyone didn't know that, it's super easy. You can download it on your phone, and then you can just copy and paste and tell it what to do, and there you go.
Okay. You could even
Sorry.
do it in Microsoft Word and then say, AI, can you take a look at this document and rewrite it for me? And it will. So
Oh,
either way,
sweet. Yeah.
I don't like to do things on my phone just because and I shouldn't even say as we get older, it's smaller, because some people wear glasses and they're younger. So, just know that I do everything in Word and then you could have AI take a look at it over. You just have to make sure that you keep it personal. Okay. Because that's why people connect with you. Sometimes AI doesn't make it quite as personal. as I would like for me, but it does help me write much better than I do. So great. Thank you for mentioning that. Okay. All right. So once I have that written, and I have it written in, again, in like Microsoft Word or some sort of a document, I can come right in here and I can pull up in Smart CRM all of my contacts. I could click this box where it says name and it'll click the 2 people on the page or the 22 people, and I could go mass email and I can mail it out. Okay. I could write it on an announcement letter, and we're going to talk about that and all the different ways that we could do it. Keep in mind, let's have a chat about texts. A text is, Josiah, are you coming for dinner tonight? And he says, yes, I am. What would you like me to bring? That's a text. Okay. A text is not, let me write my 2 paragraphs of what my introduction letter and send it in a text. That is not the purpose for a text. A text is short and brief, backwards and forwards. Hey, you coming? Hey, you want to go to the Christmas restaurant tonight? Do you want to do this? It is not a 42-page dissertation in a text. Okay? I don't care what age you are. I text all the time. I can type 125 words, no mistakes, because the keyboard has not changed from yes, when I took typing class. I'm okay saying that, okay? But you're not going to type the 125 words into the text. That's for an email, okay? So just be careful with that. A text is, I would love to chat with you and catch up on what's going on in your life. Give me a call when you get a chance, Tiffany. And she writes back, okay, Lauren, how about Friday night? And I go, great, let's have a glass of wine while we're catching up. Okay, something like that. Once I have my introduction letter written, there's different ways I can mail it. I could do that mass email. I could go to the Weichert Design Store and design a postcard and pop it on there. And I can go to my marketing studio and create it in there. Those are the different ways, or I could pop it on a letter. I could do a postcard. There's a lot of different ways that I can do it. So I have to decide how I'm going to do it. I might do a short introduction letter via an email through my Weichert, and then I might do a little bit of a longer one via a postcard, a letter. I like letter because I could put my business card in, or my business card with a magnet, so that they have that they could put on their fridge or just hold on to that to get in touch with me later. So those are a couple different ways. Again, you have to look at your sphere and the people that you know and think about how they're going to respond best. Questions before I move on? Okay. I'm going to switch gears to, give me a minute. We're going to talk about building your brand. Okay.
Hey,
And I'm going to,
Lauren.
yes.
All right, this is Sheenie. I have a question.
Okay.
Is it possible to get the contact information of the people on this call? Because what if we have like, because I myself have family and friends who live throughout the whole nation and in different countries and stuff. And so I would love to be able to forward referrals and then likewise. Is that
Okay,
possible?
so what I would suggest is that you each go into the chat and put your name. I'm just trying to think of, we can't send that out to you guys. Trying to be creative. I would
Can I do a
probably, for those
reply
that
all on
want,
the email?
pardon me?
Can I do a reply all on the email?
You could try, but I don't know if that will work.
All right.
You could absolutely try. What I would do is, for those that want to do that, is put your first name, last name, and your email into the chat, and you could go into the chat and take a picture and have everybody's email, because a couple of the people may not want to do that. And then that way, those that want to can. But you could try to reply on the email and see if that works. If no
And
one
a-
responds, then at least you have that.
And area, not only your name and your email, but where you're at.
Awesome, thank you. There you go. Okay. And we'll make sure to stay on while people do that. Okay. So I know that there could be problems with this, but I want to talk about building your brand online. Okay. Let me just go share screen share. Okay. Everybody could see that? Yes?
Mhm. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So you need to become searchable online. How many of you have Googled yourself? Do you like what you see? When people search for you, you want to be tied to real estate. And it needs to be clear that you're in real estate. And you will have access to your own website through My Weichert. Let's talk about these on an individual basis. Okay. First of all, we're going to take you live and we're going to search someone. And I'm going to show you what I mean by searchable online. Google yourself. You can no longer flip off somebody when they're driving down the road because you don't like the way they're driving. Okay. So you need to be able to be a nice person so that when people see you, they want to work with you. When we talk about people searching for you and tied to real estate, your Facebook page needs to be able to say Weichert Realtors, the Andrews Group, and what town you're in, and your phone number and your email. You need to link your website. You each get a website through My Weichert, so you'll need to customize it. And then you'll need to be able to also link that to different things so that people know you're in real estate. For example, I might link my Facebook page to my Instagram page. If I have a website, I might put my Facebook link on the website. I might put my Instagram or my LinkedIn profile on my website. So there's different things that you could do. I'm going to stop sharing and then I'm going to share and we're going to go live. Share screen. Okay, let's end this. And too many things open. Let's close that. And let's do this. Okay, can everybody see my screen? Tiffany, can you give me a thumbs up? Because you're in
Yes.
front of my thing. Thank you. Okay. All right. So I'm going to do this guy that I know that is an agent in New Jersey. Okay. And this is what I mean by when I say that you need to be searchable. Look at how many times his name comes up because he's tied to real estate. Okay. So that's one. He has a LinkedIn profile. He also is a real estate agent with Weichert. So he has this. Look at this. His photo is up there. Not just a head that's grayed out, his actual photo. He has a bio. His listings and sales, things he's done, and he has testimonials. This is what we mean by when we say that somebody needs to be searchable. Okay, here he is on realtor.com. Did you know that realtor.com allows you to find a realtor once you join the MLS and you could put in the agent name or zip and pull them up. And if I pick, let's just go out of the area. Let's go to Libertyville, Illinois. And let's just see if I could search any agent. Some agents come up with photos. And some agents will come up with no photos. This is what you don't want. Do you see that? If you were someone who's looking to find an agent, do you think you would use somebody like that? And when I click on them, it doesn't have any information about them. That's what you don't want. Okay? So you want to make sure that you are searchable on the different sites. A lot of these sites, homes.com, Zillow, Realtor, have a default profile. Realtor.com has a default profile. So if you don't write a bio and enter it there, then it goes with the default. So 5 people could have that same one, and you don't want that. Okay? So these are just some things that you'll want to know and want to have and be able to link yourself to that. Questions before I go off of this page. So you might say on your website, what do I do? I might link my website to community events within the community. I might link it to the school sites. Like, you know that you can't say so-and-so has a great school, but this is a crappy school. But I can say, Tiffany, if you go to my website, I have a page on there of school sites so that you could go out to all the different schools and look at their rankings and you could determine which would be the best for your daughter. Totally could say that. Okay. So by linking to other sites and places can help me build my profile and help me build all the different places that I'm online. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing, but then I'm going to share back and I'm going to go to my screen and share. And let's open this back up. Did y'all see that? See all my stuff on my desktop? When I said I have a crazy desktop, but those are the things that I'm working on. So it makes it easy to be able to find that. Okay. All right. So going back into here, we just get back to where we are, building the brand, social media. Okay. So homework. You need to create a Facebook page, business page. When Shauna sends out that email by tomorrow, there will be a link in it about how to go do it, things to think about. You need to create an Instagram account for business and link that to your Facebook page. If you have a LinkedIn profile, you might want to update that. And then we want to be able to engage with interesting content. Now, what's kind of cool is, and you might want to take a picture of this so that you have it handy with your phones, is these are the best days and times to post on different accounts. Again, do you need to do all of these? No, by no means. Should you do 2? Yes. Pick two. I don't even know what, like this little man with the face, I don't even know what that is. I know TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and Pinterest. Don't know this with the little doohickeys. Don't know this little guy, and YouTube. So again, some of them could be overwhelming. You don't have to do them all. You might Instagram and Facebook, you might go, I'm going to do those. You might say to yourself, well, how would I do Pinterest? Here's how you do Pinterest, just as something kind of clever. For Pinterest, you could create great children's rooms, a board. And then for your sellers, when you see a cute child's room, you might say, hey, Chloe, do you mind if I take a picture of your daughter's bedroom? That's so cute, and post that on my Pinterest page for people to have ideas for children's bedrooms. And she's like, oh no, I would love if you did that. So you could do that, and then you can market that to your sphere. Okay. But pick two. These are great places for when to post and when not to. Here's the sheet that Shauna's going to send with a link to it about how you set up a business page. Okay. And having a name and a picture is important. And we're going to talk about this in a minute. So be sure it's a business page. Now, you can join on Facebook, WREA Sales Professionals. Don't go doing it right now while we're on the phone, because you need to make sure that you have a business page, because you got to link it to your business page. You got to make sure that in it, it says that you're a realtor with the name of your company and the address, the town your office is located in the About section, the areas that you serve. Don't go putting, I serve this zip code, this zip code, this zip code. Because Tiffany, you mentioned, you know, people who don't live in the area. If they're moving to the area, or Josiah, you mentioned you have a lead for a buyer who's looking to move into your area. They're not going to know zip codes. They'll know names of towns, but they won't know zip codes. So putting the areas that you serve in the format of zip codes, to me, is kind of worthless. Okay. But there's a lot of people that do it. So you might do, Greenwood and Indianapolis and Columbus and Evansville and Lafayette and all of those towns, but I wouldn't put it based on zip codes. And then any designations that you have. Okay. If you don't have any designations, not to worry. Here's an awesome picture. This is using the Weichert Realtors. It's called the DBA properly. So for the folks down in Columbus, they have theirs on their wall. If you could see their yellow wall, and there says Weichert Realtors, the home group. Whereas somebody mentioned there, I think was Amber, is at Weichert Realtors, the Andrews group. Okay. So you have to use the DBA properly. And this is a great, we call it compliant photo. You could get some of these pictures off the internet. Make sure that it's a photo that you can use for free. There are some photos in Weichert University that you could utilize. So there's different ideas that you could do. Talk to your broker, manager, or trainer, and they'll give you some ideas. Okay. The other thing is you have to have good content. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to go live again. Share screen. Okay. Let's end this show. And let's go right here to engage121.com/Weichert. Everybody see that? Engage, ENGAGE, the number 121.com/Weichert. And I will copy that and I will put it into the text in a minute. When you go to engage one-to-one, they have a bunch of information for free content. You can arrow all the way down to where it says free hot content and subscribe. Engage one-to-one will send you an email every single day of your life with 4 or 5 different pieces that you can share onto your Facebook page. You do not need to buy anything. They will try to sell you something. Again, you don't need to buy anything. Okay? And read through it. 5 engaging articles straight to your inbox every day. Whichever one you like, pick one, not 5. Pick one, not 5. Pick one and post that to your Facebook page. Make sure you read through it. One day I posted, I didn't read it all. Somebody called me. I answered the phone. They're like, oh, that was a great article. I didn't even know what it was about because I didn't really read it that good. Don't do that. You'll feel stupid. Okay. So again, we go to engage one-to-one. Let me go in the chat. Let me go to give me a second. Meeting group chat and Control V, and I put in the engage one-to-one website URL address. Okay. The next one. Y'all ready? Yes.
Can I ask you a quick question? I am following along. I actually did kill the trees and I have the thing printed up. And so I'm following along with that. And it talks about 20% should be listing and sales, 80% should be home improvement, community, etc. So right now, while you maybe don't have any listings or sales, is that going to be an issue, or just go on and start posting and don't worry about it?
Well, that's a great question. Okay. I can't believe you killed a tree, all those trees.
I'm old fashioned. I like it in my hand.
I understand. How many pages was that?
I want to say, I don't know, because I did all of them, but maybe 20-ish. But I did it I did front and back, so I limited it.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. But you may not have any listings, but if you're in the office and you go to Christy and you go, Christy, you've got a listing. Would you mind if I marketed that on my website? I have a feeling Christy's going to go, no, go for
Sure.
that. We always ask permission first. Okay.
Mhm.
And then you do something like that. As long as you're offering value, no one's going to care. Okay. If it's holiday season right now, a lot of people do fundraisers, coats for veterans, or toys for tots, or helping someone who's in need at your local church. Those are wonderful things to post, and those will get you by far more people looking at them than posting something from Engage One-to-One, one of their 5 articles. Okay. So you just have to be smart about it. Again, if you don't have a listing or sale, go to, if Christy just sold a house in the neighborhood, you might say, Christy, can I post on my Facebook page that we just sold this property, like it's from the company, instead of saying that Christy sold it, that we just sold 123 Main Street. Want to know how much your home is worth? Call me today, Tiffany, and my phone number. I didn't say I sold it, but you got to check with your broker, your manager, because each state in the whole country has different rules and regulations for what we can and cannot do. And I cannot possibly know all the different. I mean, I know a couple, but so I'm going to refer you back to your broker, owner, manager to address that.
Well,
Okay,
my main concern was just that right now I don't have that 20%. Now you're telling me a way to kind of get it, but so I was just saying, like, is it weird that it's 100%, maybe, other things besides? Okay.
no,
Okay.
not at all. Not at all. But there are ways that you could go get that and utilize that where it looks like it is still. Okay. Okay. Let's go next to why keeping current matters. Keeping current matters. From this point on, called KCM, keepingcurrentmatters.com. Okay. And I'm going to copy that so that I can put that into the chat box in a little bit. Okay. And if you go to Keeping Current Matters, see this tab right here, Real Estate Blog, click on that. And then come down here to this mailbox. Right here. Send me these posts. See that? Send me these posts. Click right there. Put in your email, your first name, your email, your phone number, stay in the know, and get the free KCM blog. Do not buy anything. Let me say that again. Do not buy anything. You could use both of these for free without purchasing anything. Every day of your life, KCM, Keeping Current Matters, will send you one email with one article in there. So you have plenty of information to post. One of the things that Tiffany mentioned that was really beneficial is return on investments, ROI. Some magazines will do, oh, if you put in a patio, you'll get 110% back. If you put in a deck, you only get 80% back. If you put in windows, you get this much return on your investment. Those are great things that you could put on your Facebook page and then give credit to where you read that article at so that they know where you got that information to share. People love stuff like that. You'll also see on Facebook pages things like, do you like this kitchen or do you like this kitchen better? Like survey questions. So you could do things like that as well. I'm going into the chat and I'm pasting Keeping Current Matters and sending that out so that you have that as well. Okay. Questions before I move on?
Not a question per se, but it's more of a comment for Tiffany. I haven't been in the real estate market long, but I've come to know that most listing agents do not care if you share their listing as long as you put down that it is their listing and it's advertised by you.
Okay. Some offices will be like, if I was a listing agent, I don't care if you put my name in there, just that it's with our office. So that could change with different offices and stuff, but you're right, Josea. A lot of them don't care if you market it because maybe you'll bring in the buyer. Okay.
This
You
is
might even
not
want to ask them to sit in open house.
not a question, but just my head running. That all of these things you're telling us are so wonderful, but I guess, and y'all all might know this. I mean, this is nothing new, but like from what we did on Monday, we need to put this into our plan, into our schedule. Like every Friday, sit down and read a bunch of these, figure out which ones you're going to post next week. You can pre-post that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Make it like that's my day. I do that, or Monday or whatever. So just in case someone's brain doesn't work like mine. That's the
I
thought I'm
totally
having.
agree. And I like that to be Friday. That's just me. Because a lot of times Monday will be somebody's sales meetings at their office, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. some of your areas will have broker tour where you could go out and see the new listings that came on the market. You would be wise to go see that in case you're working with a buyer. Take somebody with you. Friday, just I could sit and have my coffee in the morning, get myself not only where I'm reading things and posting things and preparing for the weekend if I have any showings, mapping things out of where I'm going, offering to do an open house for agents. You know, you guys all have top agents in your offices who get multiple listings during the week. They can't possibly keep up with all the open houses. So offer to do an open house for them, you know, and then get those buyers for yourself. So great input. Thank you both, Josiah and Tiffany. Appreciate it. Social media, what to post. Community events, opinion polls. We talked about that. Weekly theme posts. I would never do anything weekly. There's not enough time in a day. Monthly, maybe. Quarterly, maybe. We talked about home improvement ideas, return on investment, videos. Now, I had a broker. He's in Knoxville, Tennessee. Okay. And their broker said this. We were all at a meeting. And this is how people said, what did I do? Give me a minute. Stop sharing. Okay. And this is what the broker said. We said that, oh, I didn't want to do a video. I don't like the way I look. I'm a little bit heavier than I want to be. I got some wrinkles. You know what the broker said? That's how you look in real life, Laura. So that's what I'm going to say to you. Videos are the name of the game, and not enough agents do them. It doesn't need to be on you. You could do a brief, hi, I'm Lauren Buckle. I'm with Weichert Real Estate Affiliates, and I'm here today to show you this awesome property. Flip. That's it. They saw me. If you have any questions, my phone number is 847-366, blah, blah, blah. Go back to the property and talk about the house. Don't point out this is the kitchen. You could say this has an awesome kitchen with a dynamite island that seats 24, you know, and talk about certain things or pointing out the crown molding. Don't walk into a room and tell them what the name of the room is. Okay, they can see what it is for themselves. But videos are a great way to answer a common question. Real estate market report, you'll find that in my Weichert. Any new listings or just sold? Let's have a chat about what not to post. You ready? Each and every one of us has certain things that we believe, and you should believe those. Those are important. But that does not mean that we throw up on Facebook, okay? Politics is the number one thing that will get you in trouble. If you're a Democrat, the Republicans won't use you. If you're a Republican, the Democrats won't use you. I would say to you, don't talk about it. Here's why. I got into real estate to earn money and be able to provide for my family and myself. If I talk politics, someone's not going to want to work with me, and that's taking money out of my pocket. Okay? We don't talk about guns. We don't talk about abortion. Those are all things you can have private conversations. I am not saying don't believe what you want to believe. I am saying that there's a time and a place for everything. And now that you're a real estate agent, you need to walk that fine line so that you could do business with everybody. Does that make sense? Okay. If you have where you need to talk to somebody, make a private group where only your private people can hear your ranting and ravings and discussions. Okay. So that's something really important. So I read this article from watchdog.com, just so you know where I got it. A study found 4 common online reasons for unfriending on Facebook. The 4 online reasons were frequent, unimportant posts, polarizing posts, politics and religion comes in at number 1, sexist racist remarks comes in at number 1. Everyday life posts, child, spouse, what we're eating habits are, come in at number 2. A different study mentioned seeking attention, bragging, or stalking as number 3, and using bad grammar as number 4. Those are the 4 things people will unfriend you. Again, think about it. If somebody unfriends you, there's somebody who's not going to want to do business with you. So that's what I meant by earlier when you can't flip the bird to people who are driving horrible anymore because they could be a future customer. Okay. And again, you didn't work this hard, take all those hours of class, take the state exam, sitting through Fasttrack to take a portion of your income out of your pocket by doing something. You want to dance on tables? Go for it. Make a private Facebook group. You want to talk about politics because you want to be the next president of your whatever group? Great, make a private Facebook, but please don't let it affect your business. Okay, that's my ranting and raving. Okay, I'll leave you with that thought. Okay, so now that your social media is ready and your sphere contact details, here's a way that you can go into the playbook and make a market report or a landing page. Remember, we talked about that for if I import that list and I have to get those people to click on it, I could do a market report because most people want to know what their home is worth or a home valuation. So here's how we do it. Market report. You enter your zip and you click. This is what it looks like. You might enter a town if the town is too big and has multiple zip codes, and you could get your friends engaged with your new career by posting this on your Facebook page. So that's called a squeeze page. Then there's a home valuation landing page. When you go to select domain, there will be a drop-down box with your domain, and you click on it, and this is what that looks like. What's your home worth? You could post this to your Facebook, to your LinkedIn, to your Instagram, to TikTok, to wherever you want, and you could use this to get your friends thinking about the value of their home. Okay. So those are 2 ways that you can do that. Next, we need to update our profile, our bio. This is really important. So, professional photo, let's just talk about that. A professional photo is not someone taking it with their cell phone. Talk to your broker or manager about professional photos in your area. Dress for success, not a t-shirt. I don't care how your clients are dressed. Gentlemen, I suggest you wear at least a sport coat with a shirt underneath. Ladies, I would suggest dressing for success the same way. Maybe a nice dress, something like that. Be careful with things like cleavage. We have it, so we have to be careful with that. Okay, so just think about professional photos and do it right. Talk to your broker, owners, your managers. They will give you some suggestions. Your story matters. The best bio that I ever read was about a girl. Her name is Laura Riley, and how she moved 15 times as a kid, a teenager, and in her early 20s, and how that was difficult for her, and how she came through that okay, making lots of friends all over from all of those moves. And people resonated with that. Know your audience. Your audience is tied to your sphere. It might be if you're in an area where you're working with veterans, or you're working with seniors, or you're working with military, just know your audience. It's also important to know your audience when you're dealing with people. It might be a question like Josiah, so have you moved a lot? And he goes, no, this is my first time moving. Whereas Amber, I might say, have you moved it a lot? And Amber goes, oh my God, this is my 12th time moving. Am I going to have discussions with them different? Yes. I'm treating them both the same and fairly, but the discussions are different. Josiah is like my daughter the first time she bought a home. I'm going to walk her through and handhold her. If I do that to Amber when she's bought a house 12 times, she's going to want to strangle me. Okay. So it's a different conversation. You need to know who your audience is. So my bio might be multiple. It might be to where I'm writing to veterans in the area, or I'm working with seniors in the area, or I'm working with military or first-time buyers. I might have a little blurb or sentence on each of those, whether you're a first-time buyer, or you're looking to downsize, or you're in the military. We at Weichert Realtors, the Andrews Group, know how to help you through this process. We've done it a million times. And then a little bit about packing it with personality. People want to know why you're in it, and keep it short and sweet. Okay. Now, there are two ways to do this. As you could see, there is credentials, background, education, experience, community involvement. Let me make it like this because this is easier. This is how Diane did hers. See how she has the about me? She's been in it for a long time. She's not new. My professional credentials might just mean that I'm a member of my local board and the National Association of Realtors and whatever. Maybe my professional experience is brand new. So you could pop them into the different categories. Or and I would always type my bio on Word. Why? Because I'm going to put it into homes.com and I'm not going to retype it. And I'm going to put it into realtor.com and I might put it on Zillow, and I'm putting it on my Weichert page on my website and my company website. I'm not retyping it all those times. I want to copy and paste. So I type it all out in Word. I copy and paste it into the headings. I'm brand new. I don't have all this. I'm going to copy and paste everything into the About Me section. And what will happen is these headings will drop off. They will not be sitting on there blank. So I could do it one of those two ways. Copy and paste everything into the About Me, or put it under the different sections. Okay. How do I get there? I go to my Weichert. I go to Weichert Tools. The next thing I do is I come here. Look at this. My profile, my bio, and my photos are all separate because they all feed to different things. So you need to do all three. Make sure you put your professional photo in my photos. You could have more than one. And then my bio and my profile. Questions? Okay, here's your homework. You ready? Update your profile in my Weichert or on Microsoft Word for now and get that going. Go to your playbook and gather your sphere. Get that sheet from, you might want to take a picture of this. Get that sheet from Shauna and start uploading your sphere or entering your sphere on that sheet, or start entering them directly into my Weichert. Once they're in there, create a landing or a squeeze page through playbooks. Okay. Begin creating your business page, Facebook page. You could brainstorm with your office for ideas for content. I've given you a bunch. And send your initial letter to your sphere through my Weichert or through a design store, and complete that in the next near future. Everybody get that? Last minute questions before I talk about gardening and baby Christmas trees. Okay, then I will end on this. Can you all see my baby Christmas trees? See this big Christmas tree? That's baby blue. He's in front of my house. He's probably 30, 35 feet high. You might be saying, why is this crazy girl telling me about Christmas trees? Okay. Did you know that if you plant a baby Christmas tree, see this little guy right here? If you plant him, in 3 years, he triples in size. The first year you water him and water him and water him, and he doesn't really grow because he's getting acclimated to the soil underneath. The second year, you water him and fertilize him, and maybe he grows. Notice I call him a he. Don't ask me why, I just do. He grows like this much because his roots are growing underground. And the third year, he triples in size. If you Google it, it's called sleep, leap, sleep, creep, leap. It's an actual thing of many perennials and Christmas trees. I planted baby blue when he was about 18 inches tall. 12 years later, he's almost 35 feet tall. You might be saying, what does this have to do with real estate? Your first year in real estate, you are a baby Christmas tree. You are learning, you are getting acclimated to the soil, and you're not really growing, but you're learning a lot. The second year, you're like, okay, you start to be able to apply the things that you learned. The third year, you triple in size, and I don't mean width-wise. I mean that you finally, it all makes sense. You put it all together. You could actually make a business plan of how much money you're really going to make instead of just wishing or hoping or trying, because you have that background. So anytime you get frustrated, anytime you need some words of wisdom, I want you to just think about that baby Christmas tree that you got to kind of, it works through it and it grows, and you too, but it does take time to be a grand, big baby blue Christmas tree. So I'm going to leave you with that thought. I thank you for your time. I hope that you learned a lot today. I look forward to, there will be some sort of, in October of 2025, there will be some sort of a celebration, retreat, learning thing for all of the Weichert offices and agents across the whole country. Put that on your business plan to attend, so that I look forward to meeting you in person.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was
Have a
great.
great
Thank you.
day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Did everybody get pictures from the chat that needs it?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Have a great
Bye-bye.
day, you guys.